nature.
Hey, get a block him out the hug the ball early. Junior league.
That idea that you could have a game breaker on the defensive side of the ball originated with Emlen Tunnell.
You know, Bruce could play every position on the offensive line. He made all-pro at 2 of those different positions.
He's not only in the top 100, but he's right there in the top running backs of all time.
He was very tough, very mentally tough, but he was also gifted athletically.
That's what the great they make, and Darryl was one of these.
The great players of any era can play in any other era. If he walked in today, he'd start for any team in the league.
He would beat him to death. Yeah, he deserves to be on this list.
End zone, Ozzie, touchdown Browns!
When you played down in Ogden, you prayed that he didn't get embarrassed.
Back to throw. He cuts up. He fires the middle. Warfield's got it. 35, 40, 45, 50. Got it up 40.
And now, the countdown continues.
The bulging biceps. He wasn't a workout fiend from the standpoint of lifting weights, and he didn't necessarily look the part. So many people would come up to me and say, you know, who's that sitting in Marshall Faulk's locker? We all would just get smiles on our face and we're like, that's Marshall Faulk. But inside of that exterior that maybe didn't look the part was the greatest football player that you would probably ever play with. There was not anything that he did that he didn't do well. That's what I think made Marshall Faulk great. Everything he was going to do, he was going to do it the best. I remember a screen pass that we threw against Minnesota Vikings. Marshall went 55 yards with it, eluding every single person on the Vikings team, if not once, maybe twice. Probably a 55-yard touchdown that covered about 130 yards. People just went, wow.
Forget the big red S. Superman wears a 2 and 8 on his chest.
Number 28. Check him out.
Over a 12-year career with the Colts and Rams, Marshall Faulk became the only running back in NFL history to rush for more than 12,000 yards and have more than 6,000 yards receiving. When he retired, his 136 touchdowns were 4th on the all-time list.
He's amazing. Wow. What else can Marshall Faulk do for this football team?
In 1999, the Rams won the Super Bowl, powered by Faulk's then NFL record, 2,429 yards from scrimmage. Part of an offense known as the greatest show on turf.
The greatest show on turf was 3/4 Marshall Faulk. The thing about Marshall is you couldn't match up with him. We could split him out like a wide receiver, and he'd run routes like a wide receiver. You couldn't put a linebacker on him. If they wanted to put a DB on him, it gave us an advantage somewhere else. So strictly his versatility is what allowed us to separate ourselves from everyone else, because he was on the field on every snap. Time after time after time, he got the ball in his hands, and you're back there going, oh, look out. And before you can even get the look out of your mouth, he was avoiding that guy and getting on to the next guy. It was like he was one step step ahead of the defense every time it was out there. It was the crazy vision that he had, the ability to be able to see players that you wonder how he could ever see them. You know, they might be 3 yards behind him.
We're all artists. When you're running the ball, basically that's what it is. There's a set place where the player is supposed to go. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And then from there, it's what's inside of you. Just like every other artist, he doesn't know why or for whatever reason what made him paint this picture.
You can't explain that. You can't play by play that. You can't tell somebody what I just saw. Holy smokes.
It's how you feel and what you think and what you see, what you trust. That's the only thing that I can think about running the football is like.
The one run that jumped out to me more than any others was a game we were playing against Cleveland in '99. Marshall made a run where he broke through the line, and he eluded basically every one of the defenders in the secondary and took off for a touchdown. And I think it was from that moment forward that I never carried out a play fake the rest of my career because I was afraid I was going to miss that wild run.
Hey, Marshall, we didn't block anybody.
Because any given moment with Marshall, it could be one of those.
We didn't block anybody. That was a hell of a run.
And that's what, in my opinion, made him the best player I was ever around.
Up next at number 69, he was all AFC 9 times. Who is he? Find out next.
Want a body like this? Then you need this, The Rack. The Rack is the fitness breakthrough that